built an insanely unique roller coaster, basically never seen before in Planet Coaster 2, where not only do you traverse some actual normal roller coaster sections, but you also fly high above the sky, go into a white water river rapids, and even get chased by a boulder. All of this ride being themed to Crash Bandicoot in my park Discovery Studios. And today in episode 18, I'm going to take you through this entire spectacular ride and show you exactly how I made each individual scene and then take you on for a ride to finish off. So if you do enjoy this video and you want to see more in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because there's plenty more Planet Coaster 2 content on its way. But starting off, if you don't know what Crash Bandicoot is, it is a PlayStation exclusive game. Well, it used to be, hence why I've put it in my PlayStation games area. And it's pretty much a 3D platform video game where you go through and have so many different levels, traversing the entire universe it feels, all trying to stop the main villain in the game, Dr. Neo Cortex. And as you play as Crash Bandicoot, there are levels where you do get chased by boulders and you fly high above the sky. You see where this is going. And I've always loved this game since I was a kid, so I had to make a ride based on it in my theme park. But with this Crash Bandicoot ride, in the last episode, I said that I really wanted to make something that captivated how chaotic that game is. And that led me to creating a similar model of ride to what Night Flight Expedition at Dollywood is going to be, or Mission Bermuda at Futuroscope. I completely forgot to mention that last time. A Mack Rides family indoor hybrid coaster that also acts as a whitewater raft ride. And with the one coming to Dollywood being themed to going through those rivers and even flying and stuff like that, it felt like the perfect ride type to make this coaster. So we started off with the layout, and I had in mind what I wanted to do in each section, starting previously that rapid section, just sort of to show you what it was going to be like, and I would build upon the ride from there. And I've pretty much finished it. Obviously, I've been very busy moving into a new house and everything, but I really wanted to perfect every single part of this ride, whether it be through the water, in the air, or even just on the ground being chased by a big rock. Let's go into how I've done this. What you're looking at right now is the entire layout of the ride, and as you can see, we've got various outdoor sections and indoor sections, which weirdly, after releasing the last episode, I sort of stared at this for a little bit and thought, why isn't the majority of this outside? Because we do have those sorts of tropical areas with all the sort of palm trees and everything. It would be silly to put that inside. And even with the Boulder Dash scene, that is outside in the game. So why wouldn't I make it outdoors? Due to time constraint, you can see the ending of the ride isn't exactly finished or started, but this section in here is pretty much after the finale of the ride, which is that big drop, so it's not too much to worry about with this video. But yeah, we'll do that next episode in a proper time lapse and everything. So all of this is very much a work in progress, especially the station. As you can see right here, you're supposed to be set in like this space station that you've just been transported to in the pre-show, Dr. Neo Cortex's lab, and right now it just looks like flat sci-fi panels and some fake stars. Yeah, this bit needs sorting. I promise you I'll sort it. As I will the train, which I'm going to make into some sort of, I don't know, interdimensional car that can traverse loads of stuff. And then we will set off on the ride. Oh, what a view. Oh, why did I just get flashbanged? And once again in here, this needs a bit of work. This is where you're going to come face to face with Dr. Neo Cortex. There's going to be a shining light on him here, and there's either going to be a screen or he'll spin round in a chair and sort of speak to you for a little bit before you enter this first portal over here. But that'll literally be done with a rotational piece and just maybe a screen or like some just, you know, animatronic stuff, which you've seen in the past in this park. But as you come through, as you can see, the portal is not spinning, and then it activates, and there you go, you launch through. Boom, look at that, and then it stops. That is literally on a rotational piece. These are some lasers in the middle, and these are just resort lights that really look nice in the dark. And then the further along you actually go in this portal, there is some nice glittery blue effects which make it look like you are sort of going through a different galaxy or something. And then yeah, you do launch through. I thought it'd be a really nice way to sort of separate the different sections of this ride. And then we head up into a switch track, and as you can see, you're going to park in that temple down there, and then all of a sudden launch backwards, an explosion happens, and yeah, that is a boulder chasing you down the tracks. This might be one of my favorite things I've actually built in this entire park. The sort of relatability to Crash Bandicoot with the TNT and everything, going in here and then it all exploding, and then that boulder just starts chasing after you. I really, really do like how this came out, as you can see. It looks so silly. Oh my god. And the boulder will work for this one as well. The boulder will work every single train which I'm really happy about, because I was actually really struggling to actually work out how to make it work for every train, but I managed to do that right there. And these trains dispatch like every 20 seconds, so it's got a good throughput. And you're probably wondering how this is done. So of course, this is just a switch track right here. That's pretty obvious. Because we have this section here that is open behind the scenes, we can actually look at this a bit better. And as you can see, this boulder here starts moving along. It won't interfere with this ending, don't worry. But you can't actually see it in there unless I click the track. You can see there is a train that is already dispatched going through this section. So there's actually another coaster under here that is timed with the main coaster so that they'll dispatch at the same time, and obviously I leave it a little while before this rock needs to catch up. But as you can see, there's the train for the boulder. That is literally Crash Bandicoot boulder. What a name for a ride. So yeah, if I remove the walls, you can see the train is literally there, and then this train literally chases after it with the boulder running on top of it, attached to that. I could have done an animatronic piece, but it literally would have been so many different pieces going along. So I took a bit of inspiration from our Wallace and Gromit Dark Ride, where sort of the train chases after you, and that's obviously another coaster train. I thought it'd be really nice to use that for the boulder, and we'll have a look at it, go past it one more time. Of course, TNT nitro everywhere, just to make it look like Crash Bandicoot. And there goes the boulder. And then eventually, as you keep going down over these jumps, which have some smoke in them to make it look a bit deeper, the boulder will stop right here, and then you'll crash into another temple. Crash, not, you know, that wasn't supposed to be a pun. And that actually does happen in the game. The boulder comes towards you, and then eventually it does hit these sort of stone or these pillars and stops like that. And because that boulder then needs to reset, we can't really have that in view. So what I've done, if I unpause it, you can see this rock comes down and blocks the view as we come into the turntable, where yes, you can see some crates break, and then we go into the mines down this way. Yes, I know, the boulder followed by these blocks breaking underneath the track when it could go straight through it are very unrealistic. Those are literally on some drop down pieces, and then we launch off, and they'll come back up once the train has departed. Yeah, I just thought it'd be a really nice effect, because I sort of want this to be the area. Obviously do a lot of spinning in the game, having this sort of showcase that, because all you're really facing, no one's going to be looking like left or right too much. So obviously back here is just black. You're going to be facing straight forwards when it does turn around, so to have those sort of break in front of you, it's quite a nice effect. And then we head into the mines, which is a very simple space where I've just overlaid a mine train track, which obviously there is a bit of a clipping incident here, and these are the sorts of things we can sort out later down the line. But yeah, you'll travel along these mine tracks. This is inspired by yet another level in the games. And then in a very dark room here, we have our first gem that you pick up. The whole point of this ride is that you're going to pick up these gems and then go to Neo Cortex's lab again at the end. And because you've collected all of these gems, which I think there's 3 of them on this ride, you can defeat him. And then after you get that gem in the dark room, you enter the next portal, which has the first scene that I actually built that wasn't the river rapids, as this portal is once again on a trigger. So as the train comes through, it starts up, and then you launch off into this section of the ride where you are really high above the ground. I used to mainly play the Crash Bandicoot game called Wrath of Cortex, and it was on the PS2, and one of the levels was called Tornado Alley, and you basically fly up into the sky in like a propeller plane, and you would see these hot air balloons that would be carrying TNT and whatever, and you had to try and shoot them down. So as you can see in the distance, bang! And you were really high above this just nice green land of like farms and everything. So what I've done is I've just built a farmland with some roads down here and just scaled them down. So, you know, you sort of look to the left and right whilst you're on the ride, and you can see all the way down into these nice little sort of farms and everything. And obviously the scale of the hot air balloons next to you is the main thing as you do turn around, and then this one over here does blow up like so. And then you can actually see that crash down there afterwards when you hit the brake run over here. Yeah, I just really like how this came out. I know the stars are a little bit, there's quite a few of them, but as you're rushing past on the ride, you've even got like a lake down here, which is really nice. As you're sort of rushing past, you're not going to take too much notice, and you're just going to think, wow, I'm really high above the sky. Definitely not inspired by the section on Wallace and Gromit's Thrillomatic. As we turn around, that helix was actually added since the last episode. I thought this bit needs to be a bit longer, so you can appreciate it a little bit longer. And then, yeah, it heads into that next room where the gem is for this level. And yeah, there's a bit of smoke behind this one just to make it look a little bit more mysterious. But there you go, a purple gem in this one. And you just curve round once again. You sort of hear the sound effect as if you've collected it. And then head into the next launch portal, which takes you outside. Oh my god, it's so dark. into the outside land. And here we go. Here is the river raft section. Look how cool that is. I love that so much. We basically started this little section here right at the start of this in the last episode, and I've basically just expanded on it from there. And as you can see, it is literally just these water shaped pieces with the water rapids effects with the splash and the foam, sometimes just across the entire center, other times splashing up against the rocks. And yeah, of course, you've got overhead sort of TNT and everything, and then occasionally you've got some stuff to the side, and obviously just water effects down here. Nice little waterfall. Keep on coming down. Of course, under those little fountains, it gets a little bit more rapidy here as we head into a cave. And as you can see, nitro all down here. I thought it'd be a really nice reference because sometimes you do get rooms like this in Crash Bandicoot and it's kind of scary. As we do depart that water element of it and we sort of come out of that into the mainland, and as you can see, just sort of trekking across this green grass here. And then you've got some crates, some arrows pointing you in the right direction as you launch all the way up this quite nice hill section. And there is actually a waterfall that runs down the side of that to the lake at the bottom, which is quite a nice touch. And then you head up really slowly into this section up here with loads of TNT. And I might add some like fire or smoke, I'm not too sure yet, but it'll be really nice to hear the sound effect here as they explode. And then you take a drop off the hillside down into the main splashdown. There's the main splashdown, of course. You may have seen it just then. There's no splash effect just yet because I need to sort out what I'm doing here first, because as you can see, it comes in nicely there. If I want it to be a big splash and have a splash zone, then I could do, but also someone did suggest putting this as like a restaurant sort of eatery area, and I think that'd be really nice, sort of looking out upon that splashdown. I think I might go for that. And you don't really want a water wave going all over your food. And then obviously from there, you would head back into this, and then you'd go through another one of those portals into the end. But the reason that's not too important for this ride in this episode is because it's basically what you've seen in the start room, just duplicated, and it'll be Cortex again, this time getting died. That was good English, wasn't it? So let's go on for a ride, and I'll see you quickly afterwards.
Still gathering crystals? Old habits die hard, don't they?
there you go, that is the Crash Bandicoot roller coaster hybrid water rapid ride, whatever you want to call it, mostly finished off. If you did enjoy this video, then be sure to stay tuned for the rest of the series, because there'll be more unique stuff like this, including an insane Pokemon Dark ride that I'm still working on. So yes, subscribe so you don't miss that, and don't miss the next episode anyway, because I'm going to reveal what the next PlayStation game is going to be for this area. See you in the next episode, and yeah, bye.